Don't stand near the clock when it stops ticking. I used to think the old clock tower in my town was just a crumbling relic, a landmark that only pigeons cared about. Every evening, at exactly 9 o'clock, its rusted gears screeched, and the massive clock face ticked forward with a sound that echoed through every alley and empty street. People joked that if it ever stopped, the whole town would collapse. I thought it was just folklore, until the night I heard silence where the tick should have been. That night, I was walking home from work when I realized the tower wasn't making its usual noise. The air felt heavier, like the whole town was holding its breath. I stopped under the shadow of the clock tower, and that's when I noticed something standing in the archway beneath it. At first, I thought it was a person, but the body was bent at wrong angles, too tall, too thin, its limbs almost scraping the stone walls as it moved. Where its face should have been, there was a spinning circle of exposed gears, grinding against each other, dripping oil like blood. It tilted its head toward me, and I swear I heard the grinding shape out words, "Out of time." I ran. But not fast enough. The next morning, an envelope was wedged under my door with 3 sentences scrawled in oily ink. "The tower stalker has seen you. Follow the rules, or your heart will stop when the clock does." Inside the envelope was a folded sheet of yellowed paper. The rules. Rules to survive the tower stalker. 1. When the clock tower stops ticking, do not look at the face of the clock. If you do, the stalker will know exactly where you are. 2. If you hear gears grinding in the distance, count to 10 with your eyes closed. Do not open them until the sound fades, or it will take something from you, usually your voice first. 3. Never accept an object it offers. The stalker may hold out a gear, a broken hand from the clock, or something personal to you. If you touch it, you become part of the mechanism forever. 4. At 9:01 sharp, the clock will restart. If you are in its shadow when it does, you will vanish, dragged into the gears behind its face. 5. If the ticking skips a second, run toward the sound, not away from it. The only way to confuse the stalker is to chase the rhythm, it cannot comprehend pursuit. Since that night, I've lived by these rules. Some nights the ticking is steady. Other nights it falters, stutters, or stops completely. Each time it does, I feel its eyes, those grinding gears, searching for me. I've heard of others who didn't follow the rules. A man who stared too long at the silent clock face was found slumped in the street, chest caved in like the gears had chewed him. A teenager who picked up a silver gear from the ground disappeared the next day, though his parents swear they still hear his scream in the ticking. Last night, the clock skipped a beat. Just 1 second of silence, then the tick returned. But when I looked up, I saw it, the tower stalker, standing on top of the clock face, its mechanical jaws opening and closing, as if laughing. I don't know how much longer I can keep outrunning time. For the past week, the clock has been acting stranger than ever. It used to be predictable, a pause here, a stutter there, then the steady rhythm would return. But now the silence comes at random hours, not just at 9. Sometimes it will skip in the dead of night, dragging me out of uneasy sleep with that heavy, suffocating quiet. Other times it goes still in the middle of the day, when the market is bustling and people are laughing, and yet, no one else seems to notice. They just keep walking, talking, shopping, as if the ticking had never stopped. But I notice. And every time it does, I see it. The stalker. Lurking. Waiting. I thought maybe I was losing my mind. That was, until I saw Mrs. Harrow, the old woman who lives across the street. She was standing perfectly still outside our porch one night, her head tilted back, staring at the silent clock tower. I tried to shout to her, to tell her to look away, but my voice stuck in my throat like something was holding it down. And then I heard it, the grinding of gears, the oily churn of rusted metal. Out of the shadows stepped the stalker, impossibly tall, its skeletal frame bending low as it brushed past her. Its gear face spun violently, then slowed, then spun again, and each time it clicked, I heard something tear inside her chest. She didn't scream, didn't move, just crumpled to the ground like an empty sack. The next morning, her house was already cleared, her family gone. Like she had never existed at all. Now, I'm terrified to even sleep. Last night, the ticking stopped at 3:17 a.m. My body jolted awake before I even realized why. The silence pressed against my ears until I could hear nothing but the rush of my own blood. And then came the sound, the grinding, closer this time, wet and heavy, like something dragging itself along the street outside. I dared a glance from behind the curtain. The stalker was standing at my front gate. Its head was tilted toward my house, the gears spinning lazily, clicking like a broken metronome. Oil dripped from its jaw onto the pavement, hissing when it touched the stone. And then, it raised one long, jagged arm and tapped the gate twice. Tick. Tick. I backed away from the window, heart slamming so hard I thought it might stop. The sound of gears followed me through the house, faint at first, then growing louder, as if it was inside my walls. I clutched the yellowed rules until my knuckles turned white, whispering them under my breath like a prayer. That was the only thing that saved me, I think. The clock resumed its tick at exactly 3:18, and the sound vanished with it. But when I went back to the window, the gate was still dripping with fresh oil. This morning, I found another envelope at my door. The same oily handwriting, but only one sentence this time: time is thinning. And it's true. I feel it in my bones, in the strange stretches of silence that no one else seems to hear. Each pause grows longer, each appearance of the stalker more deliberate. It isn't just watching anymore, it's learning. Testing me. Last night when the gears ground to a halt, I didn't just hear it outside. I heard it upstairs. In my hallway. I'm starting to believe the clock won't protect me much longer. The rules have kept me alive, but what happens when the ticking doesn't start again? What happens when the stalker doesn't disappear with the rhythm of the tower? There's one last thing I haven't told you. Sometimes, late at night, when I close my eyes and press my ear to the wall, I can hear the faint, steady beat of gears turning, not from the tower, but from inside my house. From inside the walls. And last night, I swear the ticking wasn't coming from outside at all. It was coming from my chest. At first, I thought it was just my heart hammering from panic, but no, hearts don't tick. Hearts don't scrape against themselves like rusted cogs. I pressed my palm against my sternum, and there it was, a faint, mechanical rhythm, each beat echoing like the pulse of the tower itself. I staggered to the bathroom mirror and pulled my shirt open, half expecting to see nothing but skin and bone. Instead, I saw something glistening faintly beneath the flesh, pulsing with every soundless pause of the clock outside. A metallic shimmer. A gear, small, silver, sharp-edged, turning with every heartbeat. I collapsed against the sink, my mind unraveling. How long had it been inside me? Was this what happened to the others, the people who vanished, the ones no one remembered? Were they consumed, not from the outside, but from within, hollowed out until they were just another mechanism in the tower's ancient machinery? The thought gnawed at me, but worse than the thought was the sound. Now that I noticed it, I couldn't unhear it. Every step I took echoed with a faint grinding from my chest, like a clock winding itself down. That night, the silence came again. Not just outside this time, but everywhere. No ticking, no hum of distant cars, no whisper of wind through the trees. The world had stopped, and in that stillness, I heard the grinding inside me grow louder, filling the void. And then came another sound, footsteps in sync with my own heart, slow, deliberate, metallic. I turned toward the living room, and there it stood. The stalker. But it was different now. Taller. Broader. Its gear face spun smoothly, no longer sputtering with rust, and for the first time, I understood why. It had taken something from me, my time, my life, the rhythm of my heart, and fed on it. It was stronger because of me. As it stepped closer, the gears in my chest began to turn faster, as if answering to it. My body locked up, knees buckling, and I dropped to the floor gasping. The creature bent low, and for the first time, I saw my reflection in its spinning metal face. My own eyes stared back at me, sunken, wide with terror, framed in a circle of jagged cogs. And beneath that reflection, I saw the truth, countless faces, layered one over another, screaming silently from inside the mechanism. The missing. The forgotten. They weren't gone. They were trapped, spinning endlessly, powering the thing that hunted us. I tried to crawl away, dragging myself toward the door, but the gears in my chest whirred louder, sharper, until I felt teeth grinding against bone. Every movement I made sent agony ripping through me, metal shredding what was once flesh. The stalker didn't need to chase me anymore, I was already becoming part of it. The silence stretched on. The clock did not resume. No tick. No salvation. Just the creature standing over me, patient, knowing. And then, with one final surge of pain, I felt it, the gear inside me locked into place. My chest shuddered, my vision fractured, and my heartbeat, my human heartbeat, stopped. In its place came the steady, mechanical tick of the tower. The last thing I saw before darkness consumed me was the stalker's face lowering to mine, the gears splitting open to reveal a hollow space where a heart should be. It reached into my chest with those long, jagged arms, and pulled free the gear that had grown inside me. For a moment, I thought it would end there. But no, it lifted the gear and pressed it into its own chest, where it clicked perfectly into place. And then I understood. That's how it lives. That's why the tower never collapses. Every time the ticking falters, it chooses someone to keep it alive, to replace a piece of itself. I was just the next cog in its endless cycle. Now, I can't tell if I'm writing this or if it's just the gears in my mind, turning and grinding out words I no longer control. I hear the clock again, steady, strong, louder than it's ever been. And when I close my eyes, I don't see darkness. I see the view from the tower's face, looking down at the town below, waiting for the silence to fall once more. Because the stalker doesn't hunt alone anymore. It has me. And when the ticking stops for you, it will be my face you see in the gears.